So the storm is about to break, and it's been like this all day. So I've been doing other things rather than getting in and out of the moat. Main reason is if the place gets struck by lightning, the lightning conductor goes down into it. So I don't fancy that. And safety first and all that. But I did get a load of questions about the cost of running those pumps, and let me show you, before we get back to work, why it's going to be free. I have to be honest, it is still amusing to me, even if it's full of pondweed and algae. You open your windows and I can literally climb down a ladder into water. What is it? No man's island? No, but I live on one. Right. I have something to explain, and it's fantastic. While I take a small break from going up and down the ladder into water and wading through pondweed, I want to explain about a product I was given to test out. As you know, on the channel we often get stuff to test out, review, sponsored videos. No different with this piece of equipment, but it was specifically for this reason for me. So it is part of this entire thing that's going on. So I've been testing it for a little while, and it is a big power bank by a company called Jackery, and it is the Explorer 3000 they've given me. So I used that I've tested it out while I went to camping at Le Mans the other week. To be honest, it was fantastic. It was sat there running cool boxes, lights, charging phones, everything for about 56 hours without even needing a little bit of charge. It really was a great little thing. But the main place I want to use it is I want to try to utilise it for powering this system. So it is a main system, this aeration, and obviously it does actually come from a company called Solar Aeration Systems, and there were solar options. But I never wanted to go down the simply solar route. I wanted to be able to rely on it. So it was much easier to have a main system. It was quite a bit cheaper, to be fair, as well. And there was nowhere really, the way the system was going to set up, it didn't work for us. But now with the introduction of these power banks and everything, I think I've got a solution, which is hopefully, brilliant. And I think this product will be fantastic for it. So underneath this bridge here, we are going to be putting 2 pump boxes. And that means 4 diffusers go off that way, 4 diffusers off that way, 4 per box. Now, what you can or cannot see, once upon a time, a bit over-engineered, I'm not going to lie. So this fountain here is, well, now it's actually powered off a little pump that's underneath the bridge, just a normal fountain pump. Once upon a time, as complicated as this is going to get, so here we have the secondary kitchen and a little extension, and you can see some pipe work just sort of coming out there. And let's get out the sun so it's not too bright. Here we go. Okay, so there is actually a pump box underneath there. Someone disconnected all sorts of things. The idea was that could be a pump. So the pump is inside a box, sucks stuff up, filter everything, and that could then run the fountain, and we could also put standpipes everywhere around to water plants, etc. Still a fantastic idea, but I'd have to I get the idea of what someone had tried to do that never finished, and then what other people that come here have ruined. But basically, there is power to this, and that power, believe it or not, comes all the way down from a plug socket in this room up here, okay? And there's all sorts of pump work. There's various bits and pieces up there. So, crazy idea is if I were to put the portable power bank that I've been given in there, and as we can see, the terrace, that is loosely south-facing. I'd have to do it exactly, but this gets sun nearly all day from morning to noon. It comes literally over that way. So, solar panel up there, and going into that box to power it, and then that can then power down to here. That would then, we can use that power then, so it's solar energy charging there to power that power bank, and then to come into that, and then that can then power the lake aeration system. On top of that, it could then power the fountain, because I believe this box has plenty enough power for that. The fountain, and then possibly, of course, that pump if I get it working, to do doing standpipes. Although I wouldn't do standpipes, I would be having proper watering systems through the flower beds. You can see the roses are fantastic. Imagine if they actually got watered properly and I did the weeding properly. And then you could, if needed, although it isn't often needed, you could put in-ground sprinklers that pop up under pressure, like you do a lot in Australia, etc., in hotter climates, which would then make the lawn fantastic, because then the mowers are doing the majority of the work. It doesn't matter that they're currently getting done, and you're using water which is yours. You can definitely do it. The other thing is that if the solar panels weren't able to power it completely, it could then charge from a power socket up there if needed. I believe you can set it to solar and then charge on the mains if it's not enough. That is my idea, and let me show you the product. Solar generator, so a big battery pack by Jackery. Now these guys are extremely popular with all of the sort of the camper van lot, which I am always looking at because of my old van. They're very, very, very popular. So I'm really happy to give this a go, especially as I'm going to need power down at the Loire campsite. So let's see what's in the box. Oh, right, not going to lose that in a hurry. Nice and orange use manual. I'm a bloke, so I won't pay attention to that. No, I will. I'm only joking. Well, that's a good size, isn't it? Ooh. Yes. All right. What have we got here? 3 plugs. Alternating currents. That's the 240 volts. DC, which is USB, so that's 12 volt power up there. A couple of USBs. What are you thinking? Right, let's get that charged up before I muck around with it. All right, so I've just plugged it in, and we are jumping based on what's coming through, somewhere from 30% to 100. It'll show obviously how long it's going to take to charge. Anywhere between 1.7 and 2 hours. That's quick. So we are fully charged. Okay, so this is what you've just seen was actually before I went to Le Mans. I used it for the entire time. So all 4 of these were in full use constantly, charging phones, watches, laptop, all sorts of things, and everyone there at the campsite. This was in full use, the 12 volt cigarette lighter from a car output, running one of the cool boxes. One of these was going full mode, running another cool box, and these we used for lights and stuff. And as I said, 54 hours. Well, that's also down to obviously that it's got a maximum output here of 3,600 watts. Although surge, it can do almost double, I believe, and that's the capacity. And the other battery packs that I've used with this sort of capacity are probably almost twice the size and twice the weight. It's crazy. This, however, I do need to work out how to use the app. So can we see that? We've got little apps, it's Bluetooth. There is Wi-Fi as well. And of course, this can literally show you what the power is. That's the temperature of it, the power, what's coming into it. So I will be able to, if I hook it up with the Wi-Fi, use this to know what solar power is coming in if I've got it rigged up as I've suggested. And these are the output, so the AC and so you know how much is drawing. So I'll be able to know very easily, what happens. And if there we go. So you've got a little bit at the bottom to show you what solar is coming in today. It's good. I like the app a lot. Another thing that the little Jackery box will do, and I'm thinking about the solar aeration, but I did actually come back from Le Mans. We had a thunderstorm here on the Thursday or the Friday. I didn't come back until Monday. Electric hadn't been back on, so 4 freezers worth of stuff, fridges all defrosted, all those things, and it was terrible. And the risk that I would have of that happening if I go away in the run-up to the events where we've got freezers and fridges full of stuff that could get ruined is a bit of a worry. But if you plug that box in the correct way, it's milliseconds that if it detects a power cut, it jumps to that and starts doing it. So I might actually look at that as well, just to safeguard fridges and freezers, because in my 41 years on this planet, almost 42, and, well, months of being an adult, we know I've not been an adult that well, but I've never had that until now. I've just never had that. That's the first time I've had hundreds and hundreds of pounds worth of food, or euros, should I say, ruined because of a power cut and the power not come back on. So suddenly, that could also be a very, very good option if I go away a lot. It's going to be a horrible, horrible room. Yep. The fly room. Right. So you may or may not know what I'm talking about. Look at that. So there we go. Moat down there. This stuff here, essentially, that cable there goes down to underneath that bridge. And then this is just plugged in there. So what I want to do is put that box in here with a solar panel out of that skylight, I imagine, which will get all day. We'll see how good it is actually mounted just on the side there. But we'll work it out. And then the box can charge via solar and run all of those things down there. But if the solar is not enough, because we've got bad weather, we've got mains as well. This could be fantastic. With that product, which so far in testing has been fantastic, hopefully now you've also seen what's going on. You'll understand why suddenly I'm fitting the aeration system, because there is a way to make it all work, and hopefully you understand the sort of crazy idea I've had. I'm obviously, to begin with, it's getting fitted, we're plugging into mains. That's easy. But if then the ability to use that box in the way that I want, I'm sure it can. I've got to run it first on mains to make sure we have no teething problems. And then we'll get that box in place, hopefully the solar, and hopefully that'll work. And then of course I can add on the other sections like the fountain, outdoor lights, etc. if the box can handle it. I'm sure it can, because it is very, very powerful. And I appreciate I'm not going to be able to do that all at once. It's about future-proofing the idea from the start, which is something that's never really happened here before. You just run at a problem and then you try to undo something that you created later when you find a better solution. Trying to work out how to do it properly all at once is the plan. So, fingers crossed. Hope you get my vision on that, and thank you to Jackery for sponsoring this video and let me try this fantastic product, which might just really change this place. Suffice it to say, I haven't been in the moat in this weather because it's been on off like this all day. It has enabled me to get loads of other stuff done, paperwork, because a house like this comes with a mass of admin, and do the wiring diagrams, the drawings for that Jackery box in situ, because I've actually tested it today. I've let it run one of the pumps for an entire hour, which would be loosely what it would be per day, and it would run it for about 19 hours. So half that, it would, because there's two pumps, you start getting the fact that if it's doing that once a day, I should be able to run some of the outdoor lights, which are very low because they only come up for a certain amount of time, and that fountain for certain days with the solar. So I'm really, really, really happy. The weather has given me a chance to do all of that, but I am looking forward to getting back in the moat and getting the stuff in and done tomorrow. So thanks so much for watching. See you next time. Bye for now.